Miss me? So I did take a lot of the summer off, quote unquote. I was doing a lot of gigging and other things, but as far as like online stuff, I didn't do that much. And it felt good. But we're back and I'm back. And I know you've been waiting, or hopefully have been waiting, for the ninth installment of this Rec Origin story. So I'm going to get right to it, but I'm going to confess that I have been doing these kind of extemporaneously up until now, but as I mentioned last time, things are getting so confusing and convoluted that it's getting harder. So this time around, I have notes. I have notes. Hopefully, it won't make it too canned, because I like to just be off the cuff. But what the notes will hopefully do more than anything else, and yes, I'm saying hopefully a lot because I'm looking for hope, basically, is keep me on story, on mission, really trying to make this clear and concise. I'm not great at being concise, especially with something so confusing as this. So, first of all, where we were last time. And before I say that, I'm going to tell you that last time I mentioned that this time around I would tell you how you can help me fix this entire thing. First of all, if you're just joining me, go back and watch the other 8. It's a great story, and you'll see how crazy I am. But if you don't want to do that, to sum up, I don't belong here. There's another Earth where I do belong, an alternate reality, you might say. Things have been misaligned for decades, and I need to realign them. And so that's what you can help me with. So let's go from where we were before. We ended up in the early 2000s. I mentioned some of the recordings I did then. The last recording I mentioned, What It Is, which was in the link to that one, the link was in that one, attracted the attention of an up-and-coming producer named Mike Klein, who had worked with a guy named Shelley Yakis on some really big things as an engineer, and he wanted to get his feet wet as a producer. He was getting ready to work with the Shins, if you know the Shins, etc. And that happened in both realities, believe it or not. So for once, one of my memories is actually real. I did end up working with Mike Klein on my next and what would be my last album under the artist's name Nick, so easy to search for, which was the Metro Grand Sessions, named for Metro Grand Studios in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. So Mike and I worked very closely during a very tough period for him. He had just had a young daughter, and he had brain cancer. It was a pretty great experience other than the illness, and yet 2 things happened that caused me to completely shift gears. One was I wasn't super happy with the results of the album. I think, yet again, just like in 1998 with Listen You People, I didn't assert myself enough to say that's not the sound I wanted, and or Mike and I just weren't a good fit. But the second, now that is to say, though, that several of those songs ended up being really huge in my career, in live and all of that, and even in this reality. In the other reality, they were hits. They were hits that people loved, but critics didn't, and that's one of the reasons why stuff shifted for me. But shortly after the album, the Metro Grand Sessions, and I will put a link to that, was done, Mike moved to New Mexico to work with the Shins and then died. So he never got to work with them. In the other reality, he was able to get treatment enough to work with the Shins and make a name for himself, and he got to know his daughter a little bit before he then did die anyway. At least that's the interpretation of the message that I got. Some of these messages, they're so confusing, the way they're coming, because they come like dreams, and some of them are like waking dreams. But either way, in both realities, this forced my hand because I expected big things from this album, and the big things didn't happen. So I vowed to kill Nick, to put Nick to rest, because I felt like things weren't aligned properly, and turns out they weren't, and said I needed to start a band. So the first thing I did was I moved to Camden for a bit, not Camden, New Jersey. I'm from that area. I moved to Camden in London, where the music scene is absolutely incredible, because I knew based on the numbers, and the other reality, that my songs were hitting much better there. And I know even in this reality, my rec music tends to get more play overseas because that's just my aesthetic. And I formed a band, found musicians in both realities, in different cities, and decided to call the band Rec. Why? You may have heard this before. Rec stands for three things: the record button, which I'm staring at right now as I record this video. Recreation, meaning let's have some fun. It should be fun, even if it's, good and intricate and whatever else the music is. And rec, as in the middle of the word, W-R-E-C-K, because I am trying to upend certain ideas of how music is structured, how music sounds. I have an amalgam of influences. And so that's where the name Rec came from, but primarily because I'm a studio rat and I love to record. So Rec, R-E-C, Rec button. And that all started back in '04. And we started gigging. And I got material together for an album, which eventually became, in 2007, Parts and Labor, Rec's debut album. And in this reality, it was, in a sense, a temporary swan song for Rec, which I'll talk about in a second. In the other reality, it was huge. It was like a rebirth. And in both realities, what happened was I shifted gears. I went to film. In this life, I co-started a film company. We produced 6 films. I did a lot of music for it. I starred or co-starred in all of those films, and that petered out eventually. But it gave me a chance to explore other ways that I do music, etc., etc. But in the other reality, my star was rising. I also starred in a bunch of films, and it divided my attention to the point where another album wouldn't come out for 6 years. So, Parts and Labor, I'll put the link down below as well, so you see where things left off. 6 years later, it was Distance to Empty, which in this reality was a comeback of sorts and got me back on track with Rec. And in the other reality was also was a return. I wouldn't say a comeback because I was in the spotlight a lot. At least, again, those are the dreams I'm having, and the oh, my life isn't real, waking dreams. And as you can imagine, this is really affecting my mental health. Which, by the way, I'm not being concise. So, if you're into a video that's 10 minutes or longer, this one is for you. And that is partly because of me dividing my loyalties between acting and music. And it's partly because I knew even then that things weren't feeling right, that there was some kind of misalignment. And, like I said, I have notes here. And the truth, which I didn't know and I abandoned here, was that triumph was just around the corner if I had just stuck to it. And I think it's around the corner now, but, and it's never too late. But it could have happened 10 years ago, could have happened 15 years ago. In the other reality, triumph happened because after Distance to Empty, another album came out very quickly, and then that did so well that the touring and all of the stuff that happened in between and more films caused me to delay the next release for a few years, but then that came out, and I'm going to talk about all that in the next installment. But that is to say that momentum happened, and the momentum happened to bring me to the heights of any possible person's dream for a career. This in the other reality, because, if it happened here, you'd already know me. And I'll talk about that in the next installment. And in this one, I'm going to sum this up by saying what I said I would say at the beginning, which is, how can you help me? And it turns out I've been trying to send messages back. I've been like chanting and channeling and meditating. I've been trying to jump out of my dreams or into my dream. I don't even know how to describe it. I've gone to mediums and stuff like that. None of that has worked, despite because medium is crap anyway. I have tried to do frequency things like those movies and whatever, and none of that has worked either. And it turns out, and just got this in a recent message, and I'm pretty sure it's real, and that is that none of that, the messages that they're talking about, whoever this person is who's sending me these signals, what they want back is the music. The message is the music. The messages are the songs. So I started playing those songs to see if they would get through. And I got like a blip of an energy, whatever, but it still wasn't working. And it's because you're missing from that. It's not just the songs, it's you too. The only way I can get through and realign these realities to get me to where I belong in my life and career is for you to join with me, to listen to these songs, to play these songs, to share these songs. I don't care if it's a song from 25 years ago or a song I just released this year from Rex's upcoming album, Kite to Camden. And now you know why, partly why I named it that, although there are other reasons. It can be any song that moves you, but play it and share it and like it and whatever else you need to do to get the word out, because that's the only way we're going to fix this. And I don't have enough energy left to continue to go through this, to keep trying to realign these realities. I need your help. And there's only going to be one more installment of this story to sum everything up for those of you who couldn't sit through these 9 episodes, and to reassert what I'm saying right here, which is help me. Help me with the music. Come out November 13th to see Rec at LIC Bar. Whatever it is you need to do, I beg you to help. Help me realign realities.